Good afternoon, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Alexander. I hope you're doing well and you're staying safe. And I hope that you're ready to talk about days 3, 4, and 5 in your distance learning packet. What I'm going to do today in this video is walk you through how to complete these sections. So, in a previous unit this year, you learned about animal habitats. Do you remember that unit? I sure hope so. Let's think back to some of the habitats we learned about. What were they? There were oceans and rainforests and deserts and Arctic tundras. We learned that plants and animals work together in a habitat to survive. We also learned that plants and animals can adapt in their habitat or if their habitat is threatened by human activity. By the end of this week, we need to be able to answer the following question. How are animal habitats affected when humans interact with their ecosystems? What? I thought we were talking about habitats. Where did this word ecosystem come from? On day 1 of your packet, you were asked to write about a topic that you already knew. That topic was habitats. You were also asked to think of 4 questions to ask about that topic. Here are some examples of the questions that I came up with just thinking about what the work we're going to do. My first question was, what is an ecosystem? The next question, what is a food web? Third question, how does an ecosystem work? And fourth question, how can humans have a positive or negative impact on an ecosystem? Day 3. I'm going to give you a moment to turn to day 3 in your packet. Okay, let's work. On day 3, it's your job to use the 2 texts you were given to research or look for answers to the questions you came up with on day 1. Here's my example. My first question was, what is an ecosystem? So I have evidence from the food web text. What I found is that an ecosystem is made up of living things like zebras, plants, and grass. It's also made up of non-living things like air, water, and soil. The other text which we read, which was Earth's plants and animal species need each other to survive, didn't have any details to support the question that I was looking for. So I just wrote NA. My second question was, what is a food web? Well, in the text food web, I found the detail. A food web consists of all food chains in a single ecosystem. That answers that question pretty well, I think so. The other text, I really didn't see any details. Maybe you will when you're looking, but when I looked, I didn't find an answer, so I wrote NA. My third question was, how does an ecosystem work? The answer I found in the food webs text was, food webs which are made of food chains help all living things in an ecosystem survive. I found that information directly in the text. The other text, I didn't find any details, so I wrote NA. Question 4. How can humans have a positive or negative impact on an ecosystem? I actually found a lot of details in food webs. The first detail I found was people cause bioaccumulation, which is when animals or plants eat or absorb pollution. I also found people are passing laws to protect animals that are facing extinction, like the bald eagle. In the other text I found, people are causing climate change. People get their food, medicine, tests, and other important things from various ecosystems, but they cause damage trying to collect it. People are also doing positive things to help, like not cutting down trees, planting trees, and reducing the use of fuel. I found those details directly in the text. This section here is just for other interesting facts or details that you felt was important to write down. So from food webs, I want to remember that producers are plants, that consumers are herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores, and that detrivores and decomposers eat and break down dead things in an ecosystem. In the other text I wrote, Earth is a living planet. And I also wrote, biodiversity is the variety of living things in an environment. So if I had to come up with a summary of what I've learned from both texts, and usually this is when we answer question words and do a question word summary, the sentence I came up with is, living and non-living things work together in an ecosystem to make sure everything survives. I think that pretty much sums up what both texts were mostly about. Would you agree? Okay, I'm going to give you a moment to turn to day 4. Okay, let's work. On day 4, you will begin thinking about and planning your writing project, which is a narrative writing product of your choice. You will choose and circle one of the following choices on your paper. You have the option of creating a field journal entry that describes a visit to an ecosystem, writing a short story about an ecosystem, or writing a diary entry from the point of view of a living thing in an ecosystem. Now, I was really excited about this project, so I decided to write a diary entry from the point of view of a living thing. Let me go back. Won't let me. Oh well. From a living thing in that ecosystem. Day 4 continued. So, on day 4, you're asked to complete a graphic organizer that they're calling a note catcher. You will begin planning your writing for your project here. Here is an example of my writing. So the first guiding question was, what is your product task asking you to do? I have decided to write a diary entry from the point of view of an animal or a living thing in an ecosystem. What text are you going to use? Food web, which is the first text, and Earth's plants and animal species need each other to survive, which was our second text. Which evidence from the text will you use? I wrote down here the most important details that I want to use from both texts in my writing. We're still on day 4. Let's keep working. So, DCPS gives you 2 options for outlines when planning your writing. You may notice that they don't quite look like what we've been using at school, but don't worry. I'm going to walk you through this. For the purposes of this project, I suggest that you skip option A and work on option B instead. Option B has a format that's relatively close to what we've been using in class. These are the 3 main components that we're going to work on option B. Your introduction. This is the section where I will write a topic sentence that introduces my writing and states my opinion. Supporting ideas. This is the section where I will write 4 strong supporting details for my introduction. And conclusion. This is the section where I will indicate to my audience that I'm ending my writing and I am restating my opinion. So, I'm going to show you an example of my work on the option B. Not option A, but option B. Introduction. I am writing and stating my opinion and using a specific writing style. Now remember, boys and girls, that this document is really just for you to jot notes. This is not the section where you're going to write your final project. It's kind of like a single paragraph outline that we use in class. You only write complete sentences on the solid line and you just jot your thoughts and ideas on the dotted line. We're going to use the same thought process here. So, I'm remembering that I'm doing a diary entry. What do I need to include in my introduction? Well, I need to be an animal. Oh, I'm going to be a boa constrictor. And what's my ecosystem? The Amazon rainforest. I really enjoyed that book, The Kapok Tree, so I think I'm going to kind of use that as my setting. Well, what I do know, and this is my opinion, humans have a negative and positive impact on my ecosystem. And if I had to give a feeling, because I want my narrative writing to be interesting and I want it to be engaging, so I'm going to include that I'm worried. I'm a boa constrictor and there are problems in my ecosystem. The next section is supporting ideas. Here, I am including information that I read from both texts in my narrative to support my introduction. So, these are the things that I'm going to discuss in my diary entry. Food web is in danger in my ecosystem. Humans are having a negative impact on my ecosystem, but sometimes they're trying to do this to survive. Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll see. The good news is that humans are taking steps to fix the damage, and humans are cutting back on the fuel that they're using and passing laws to protect endangered animals. I'm going to take all these thoughts and ideas and I'm going to transfer it into my writing. The last section is conclusion. Here, I am restating my opinion and wrapping it up. So, the signal or the phrase that I decided to use to let my reader know that I'm wrapping up my entry is in closing. You could say in conclusion, therefore, in summary. It really just depends on your choice and writing style. So, in closing, I hope to get to continue to live in the Amazon rainforest. Although humans have had a negative impact on my ecosystem, it's clear they're trying to fix their mistakes and make things better. This is great news because we all depend on each other to survive. And then, since this is a letter, I'm going to close it the correct way. Sincerely, Monique the Boa Constrictor. Whew, take a breath. When you're ready, I need you to turn to day 5 so we can talk about the last steps of your project. I'm going to give you a minute to find it in your packet. Okay, let's work. Day 5, drafting and publishing your project. On day 5, you are taking all that you have learned and creating a piece of narrative writing. Once you are done writing, you will use the following checklist in your work. Purpose. Did I use descriptive details so the readers could picture what was happening? Did I use dialogue and strong words and feelings to show the characters or how the characters respond? Did I use story elements? Did I include a narrator and characters? Did I organize my story in a way that makes sense in the correct order? Did I use words to signal order? Did I use interesting words to captivate the reader? Did I use story imagery so that the readers could see what was going on? Did I capitalize correctly? Boys and girls, you are in 3rd grade. You should be able to capitalize every sentence and use the correct punctuation at the end. Did I write simple and complex sentences? So, once you're done writing your narrative, you're going to use this checklist to make sure that you've completed or you've included all of these things. Now, the district gave you a piece of lined paper for you to write your final product. I did not give you my example because I don't want you to copy my work. I want you to work hard on your own. Good luck on writing for this week. We can't wait to see your projects when you return to school on the 27th of April. If you have any questions, feel free to call, text, or email your teacher. Bye-bye.